Well, let's get more on Greece now, because joining me on Skype is Dr. Scheherazade Rehman, the director of the European Union Research Centre at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Dr. Rehman, do you think Greek politicians and the voters, indeed, are being realistic about the way their country can deal with austerity measures with a sort of credible outcome that would be acceptable to the rest of the Eurozone nations?
I think that as every hour passes, the process is looking less and less credible. All three parties tried to form a government and they've failed. And there will be elections probably in June. That's what has to happen. The problem is that whatever is the outcome of this and whoever wins, there's going to be some pullback on the austerity programs and probably reneging on some of the bailout deals, which is going to be unacceptable to the markets, the IMF, and to Germany.
So what happens if there is another election in June? Do you expect the same result? Why should anything change?
Not much should change, but they might get a slim majority here and there, and the parties might try to find a coalition. It doesn't look very good because the pain on the ground is very real. And there is a shift all over Europe as a backlash against the austerity in incumbent governments. And this unity government that just fell apart is going to have a very hard time pulling a coalition together. And as I mentioned, every time they do this, their credibility in the world's eyes goes down just a notch more.
Do you think we're just slowly moving towards Greece becoming bankrupt? And then what happens to that country?
Well, I think it's been bankrupt for some time now. What will happen is that if there's any pushback against what has already been agreed upon, the IMF is threatening to withhold payments that are due in June. That will give Greece about 2 months of money left, and then it will be finally out of money. That means government workers can't get paid. Then it's a whole different ballgame in terms of chaos in that country.
Who do you think should be more worried about the possibility of Greece being thrown out, or indeed of its own volition leaving the Eurozone? Would it be the Eurozone nations or Greeks themselves who should be more worried?
I think it's the Greeks themselves. I think the Greeks are fully aware that if there's a departure from the Eurozone, this is going to be probably the worst thing that's going to happen to them. And all this crisis that is unfolding in Greece, really the Spaniards are very, very afraid, because we are in very serious conditions in Spain. And once the market sees what's happening in Greece, that spillover effect is going to happen again in southern Europe.
Can I just ask you a wider political question about these Greek elections which took place last weekend? Because there is a concern in some quarters about the rise of the extreme right, which has gained seats in the parliament. How much do you think the situation, the political and economic situation in Greece, is going to lead to more and more of that in that country, or even wider in Europe?
Oh, I think absolutely. The fringe extreme left and right are coming into power, and we are seeing it across the board because as the pain increases and austerity programs are pushed on the people, their reaction is to vote for these extreme parties. And rest assured, I think whatever ends up in Greece, you're going to have a coalition with some parties which are extreme left and extreme right.
Okay, Dr. Scheherazade Rehman in Washington, D.C., thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.